And all right, future me will put this at the beginning. I like future me.
Future you is probably way more sober. Just
Probably.
kidding.
Probably. Just saying. All right.
It's witchcraft.
It's 4:20 a.m. Do you know where your weed is at?
I smoked it.
Welcome to episode 35 of The Stoned Witches Hour. Today's podcast will thrill your ears with two of the creepiest ghost and cryptid stories that can be found from right here in the United States of America, where poltergeists and politics will scare the stoned right out of you. Representing all things weird, weedy, and witchy on the West Coast, I'm Layla.
Wow, I'm so high that your intro scared me. I'm so yikes. I'm apparently scaredy pants shell and we haven't even started yet, but I still attest to I'm from the East Coast, which is the ghosty coast.
Nice. Yeah, I would say you're probably pretty right. Although the last couple weeks I've been trying to catch right up with you on the coast with the ghosty most.
You know, I will say last week, I really think that we were 50-50 dead on equal. We were scary last week.
We were. We had some pretty good scary stories. And this week, like I said, I have a cryptid tale.
I
that
can't
I'm
even believe it because I'm the one who always does the cryptids, and I can't even believe that I've got you doing a cryptid story. You're hooked. You're hooked. I know you are.
I am. You got me. You absolutely called it because it's been a while. It's been a minute, Shell, since you've told a cryptid story, and you know how much I love your creepy cryptid stories.
I felt like I did like 4 cryptid stories in a row, so I tried to back off a little bit. So I am actually so thrilled that you are actually doing one. So please tell me, what cryptid am I going to find on the West Coast?
So, in today's episode, I am going to be doing a cryptid from Montana, and we stayed kind of in the canine cryptid family with something called the Shunka Warak'in.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. And now Montana, that's like up in the almost Canada region. So this has to be like some snowy, loving, meat eating. Oh my God, don't tell me it's a meat eater. I don't
Oh,
even
it
want to know.
definitely is. Oh, you don't even want to know how many animals it's killed, but we'll
Oh
get
my
into it.
God.
So,
Well,
yeah,
I'm going to go a little bit different. You know, I love these little weird, cute, historical East Coasty things.
you do love your little historical-y things.
So I am going to take it back to a bridge because if you recall, I've kind of been on a bridge kick lately. I don't know what it is about bridges. They're so cute. I love them.
You get in like a little cycle of
I
things, and
do.
bridges seem to be the current cycle. I love it. Don't get me wrong. Love me a good haunted bridge. Keep going.
You know what I think it is? I think that my boyfriend and I have done a lot of driving this summer, and I've seen
Mm.
a lot of bridges. I've seen some covered bridges and some scaredy bridges. So I don't know. I got in a bridge thing. I am going to take, and you know, it seems like everything we do, it's like in my area, everybody has the most world's famous roast beef. I feel like I've got the most haunted bridge again.
The most haunted everything.
Most haunted everything. And you know what the best thing is? Not only have I had a lot of fun doing this with you, but I am learning so much about so many haunted places that I may not have otherwise known. And unfortunately, it is creating a long list of places I want to go and fuck around and find out with a Ouija board.
Same. I am absolutely having a ball doing this with you, Shell. I'm so glad that we are continuing to do it.
As much as it kills me to admit it, I am actually learning that the West Coast is kind of ghosty.
We're very ghosty. I'm learning so much stuff. It's amazing the things that you think you hear bits and pieces of, but you don't really know until you kind of
And
dive into it.
some of them, I mean, we love the ghosty paranormally part, but some of them kind of turn into a partial history lesson, which I personally think is cool. It's very fun. And like I said, I'm trying to find even deeper places that I've never heard of before because this is so just enlightening and interesting. And I feel like, is there any place left in America that's not haunted?
I haven't found one yet. If I throw a dart someplace, I can just pretty much
Let's go
find
ahead.
something there. There's some local legend, there's some creepy house or strange cemetery or
Or a cryptid.
or some cryptid or folklore. everywhere. The whole USA is covered in creepiness.
I'm just finding so many cool places. This podcast has just opened up so many haunted paranormal locations. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I
I
love it.
love it too. I love it. I love it. I'm so glad we are doing this together. It's so much fun.
It is so much fun. And I think that we need to be like the two old ladies on Practical Magic, except we need to live in an RV and travel America doing like ghost hunts.
Oh, we'll have our little nomad RV all decked out in velvets and, our lights and
But,
stars.
but be like the ants on Practical Magic. Be
Oh,
like
hell
that,
yeah.
but traveling. We'll be the traveling ants.
We'll be the traveling practical med. Ooh.
Right?
Can I be Sigourney Weaver?
I just want to be Stockard Channing. That's all I got to say.
Did I say Sigourney Weaver?
I don't think that's who you meant, but that's okay.
That's not who I meant. I meant Stockard Channing. Damn it. That means you got her first. I do love Sigourney. Okay. Can I be Sigourney Weaver as an ant?
How about this? You can be whoever you want as long as we live in an RV and travel America looking for ghosts.
I'll be Witchy Layla.
Yes, yes, yes. So, I just think this is amazing. And of course, being high, talking about it and researching these places is also very fun.
Oh,
But
so much fun.
I mean, I also feel like I'm learning a lot about American history through this, believe it or
Me
not.
too.
Who knew?
Surprisingly,
Who knew?
I had no idea that you could approach history from a paranormal bent and learn as much as I have. So
If they would have told me that in 10th grade history, listen, you just learn all this stuff and we'll tell you the ghosty part of it for your Regents exams. They would not have had to argue with me. I would have been like, yes, let's do this.
geography, history, government, world wars, all of this stuff, I would have absorbed it so much better if you had told it through a paranormal, metaphysical, ghosty, creepy lens.
If there's any educators out there, please, we're telling you, try it.
At least for the month of October.
What's the worst thing that could happen? It doesn't work. Okay, a lot of stuff you do doesn't work, just saying.
I bet you if you did a haunted history for October,
Every
that
kid
would be
would get
the
a good
facts. Yeah, those would be the facts the kids would retain the entire year. Right? Shell and Layla, we have patented this learning system.
Yep.
It's the scare the pants off the kids system, and it's going
teaching
to
them
go
history.
while teaching them history and geography. It's going to go worldwide,
I think so.
or at least USA wide.
Just remember, we were the ones who came up
That's
with the
right.
idea.
We're
That's
patenting it. Patenting it. Oh boy. I'm smoking some Rainbow Runts tonight, and I can't tell Stockard Channing from Sigourney Weaver. I can't say patented.
But you are coming up with an educational genius idea.
I'm so smart. I feel so intelligent this evening. I do.
I do too. And I'm still smoking the same thing. I feel like it's hitting me different this time. I've said this about a couple weeds lately. I think it's your mindset that either makes I don't want to say an upper or downer, but sure. I think your mindset can either make you productive or melt into the couch. And I think maybe the last time I smoked this, I was feeling very kind of melty in the couch. And this time smoking it, I'm kind of a little more upbeat and ready to get down with the ghosties.
Nice. Like I said, I'm smoking some Rainbow Runts, and I again wanted to go with something a little different. These look very crystal.
Because all I'm thinking, when you say Rainbow Runts, I'm thinking candy, I'm thinking Skittles, I'm thinking Runts. Tell me about the flavor. I'm curious.
The flavor is really good. Not as sweet as the Tropicana cherry I had last week, but still has a really nice smoke. Very, I guess sweet is a good way to put it. I would say it's not as cherry sweet or berry sweet like the cherries tasted, but it is like a easy to smoke kind of mellow, sweet tasting to it.
Do you grind this up, or are you a stuff and packing with this?
This is too resiny and too thick. I mean, when you break it up, it is definitely kind of purpley in there, and they're very thick, dense buds. So you have to break it up, or my husband's a stuff and shover, and unfortunately, yeah, but it doesn't burn very well. So I find myself pulling the nug out and breaking it up and putting it back in.
That's been happening to me a lot lately. It's almost like everything I've been getting. I mean, you could go back a few episodes of me talking about this. I feel like it's been like 2 months that everything I'm getting almost has to be ground up to kind of be smokable. Stuff and pack it. It's like you're trying to smoke a damn rock. No, I'm consistent. Happy Valley, love them. I just thought they might have changed up something with their grow system, that things were coming out more dense and less fluffy. Because when you feel them, they actually feel dense as opposed to that like kind of light, fluffy weed. So I just thought that, can you do something in your growing method to make things more dense? Or am I?
Absolutely. Yes, you can get better genetics. You can focus on cultivars that have that denseness, that rich THC, that rich resiny dense bud, and just focus on growing those particular types of cultivars. You can also like the better light, and lights are getting better and better all the time. They are miles away from the high pressure sodiums I used to grow with. Now they're all LEDs, different types of diodes, and it's even getting better than LEDs. I can't even go into the lights or would be here for hours and hours and hours. But they're probably using much better lights, more light. Then once you start adding lights into the system, then you can start adding CO2, which can help add a lot of density to the buds if they've got a really nice grow system. So I think as we know more about how to grow, and as legal states and legal growers are setting up
It's
their
very
farms.
competitive. It's very competitive around here. It's almost like every store chain does their own grow. So like you've got to be better than the rest because there's so many options around here. And I as we talk about, I have no shame. I go to Happy Valley because honestly, I feel not only do they have the best weed as far as quality, selection, price, but it's consistent. And the competition is so big. I can just totally imagine people have to hone in their growing methods to keep competitive, to keep people going to their store as opposed to another store.
And you hit it right there. Customer satisfaction and coming back is really the key here.
Right.
I mean, if you're paying $60 an eighth,
The tax better be included in that damn $60 for all you sellers out there.
and it better be fucking fire. I'm not going to smoke swag for $450 an ounce or something. What's 6 times 8?
I'm too high for math, you crazy fool.
No, $480 an ounce. Practically a $500 ounce. I am not going to smoke that if it's shit.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I just think that I just turned it, chalked it up to competition. I just
I think you're
never,
right.
I didn't think growth hormones could play a part.
I think for the most part, particularly in legal states, it's not something you have to really worry about. But again, I know people that say the more dense it is, the possibility is there. But anyway, I do think in this particular case, it's like you said, it's competition. It's these places that are getting better at growing. They're adding more lights. They're adding more things to optimize the flavor, the denseness, and the trichomes of these plants.
With these places being in a retail business at the scale they are, you can't tell me they're not up on the latest and greatest everything. And the minute something is better, they're getting it and installing it and trying it out,
Yeah. And I love that. I mean, that's what I'm doing at home is whatever I can afford to make these the best plants that I absolutely can. And that usually means adding more light.
Yeah. So, like you said, newer lights are coming out. Things are just, technology is making weed great.
It's wonderful. Legalization has been fabulous for this. I'm so happy.
Yeah, well, we're still not there yet, lest we not forget. We haven't hit the hurdle of federal yet, but I think we're closer than we've ever been.
I agree. I think so. I hope so. And these rainbow runts are hitting so good. I practically feel like I'm melting. It's a good 29% THC.
Ooh.
And I am more than happy to delve into some stories and get all spooky with you today.
So I'm going to talk about a haunted bridge in South Carolina. I also have a thing with South Carolina right now. We're going to talk about the Poinsett Bridge.
Poinsett, like poinsettia, like the plant?
Kinda, but without the A at the end. Poinssett.
Poinsett.
Poinsett Bridge. And actually, you had talked about in a previous episode how you thought things were kind of attached to like stone type stuff.
Yeah.
This is actually a stone bridge.
Ooh, fun. Okay, another one for the stone theory. I'm down.
So that's what I'm going to talk about. It's only really a 14-foot long bridge, but it is the oldest bridge in South Carolina.
Oh, how neat. So is this a walking bridge or a driving bridge?
Well, not that I've been over it. It seems like it is a walking bridge. I think it was originally built as like a road bridge back in like the horse and carriage. It was built in 1820. So, as you can imagine, this was probably like horse and carriagey type horseback riding type transportation. This wasn't.
How fun and romantic to hear the horse and the wooden carriage wheels just kind of like clip clopping along the stone bridge.
So it was built as a road, but as you can imagine, like this isn't something that is anything modern day used.
Okay.
At this point, it's like kind of a dirt walking bridge, I guess is the modern day explanation. So this was actually also put on the National Register of Historic Places in 1970 because it's one of the first stone structure bridges. It's hard to explain, but the archway of the bridge looks almost like a church arch.
Oh, how neat. Okay. And it's the oldest bridge in the state.
It's the oldest bridge in the state, but like if you were to look at it like sideways, it would almost look like a stone doorway into a stone castle.
Okay. All right. From a magical perspective, to turn a bridge, which is already kind of, got like that two worlds kind of thing going on, to turn a bridge into a doorway and a doorway that looks like a church that's holy for part of the population, that's just asking to be a portal to something.
One description of it is that that the bridge is a charming centerpiece to a local park with its Gothic stone walls, like something out of a fairy tale.
Oh, damn. I want to go take pictures there, not just because it's probably crawling with orbs, but because it sounds gorgeous.
But then it's followed up. So that was a very beautiful phrase I said. Gothic stone walls like something out of a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Then the next statement is a Grimm's brother fairy tale.
Ooh, my favorite kind. They usually have some sort of fucked up twist at the end.
Now, like I said, this is supposed to be, quote unquote, the most haunted bridge in South Carolina. And apparently, the minute it gets dark, it is a hotbed of activity.
Ooh.
Now, for all of our viewers out there, this is definitely something worth Googling.
Oh, wow.
Can you see that?
That literally looks like a portal.
But do you see how the creek kind of winds through the underneath? Doesn't that spell?
It does.
That spells like magic.
It does. It's a beautiful stone bridge with like this gorgeous pointed arch with a stream running through it and the forest on the other side. That is stunningly beautiful and creepy all at the same time.
It makes you want to go there, but it also like makes
I
you
want to go there and
going there.
Get pictures of the orbs all inside that archway.
I
don't know if I would walk through it on a full moon night, though.
I'm afraid that if I walk through it, the other side is going to be very different than what it appears.
Yeah. There's got to be certain times of the year where when you walk through that, you're going to come out somewhere else on the other side. It absolutely looks that way.
Now, here's the thing. They say if you consider walking through the arch at night, don't.
Yeah, because they're smart. We called that shit. Of course, they built it that way. What were they thinking?
They say that at nightfall, there's mysterious screams and murmurs, flashing lights.
I want to camp there. Can you camp nearby?
This is a weird thing. Now, tell me if you've ever heard of something like this. Some people do think it's a portal and that the flashing lights are actually perhaps Morse code coming from the other side.
Well, if it's Morse code, people could like figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I never found like what they thought it was. So I don't know.
But some sort of code. How creepy.
Cars, I guess if you approach it, cars all of a sudden will like stall out and not start anymore.
Electrical trouble.
People think that they feel like a ghost is physically pulling them away from the bridge. Like they're being grabbed and being pulled away.
No, don't touch me. Ew, don't touch me.
As you and I both know, some of the most beautiful places have the darkest secrets.
They do. It's so true. And this one really seems to. I mean, it seems like it was built to be some sort of portal to another world.
It does, but there's also people that think that this is a bunch of crap. This is this is near Greenville, South Carolina. Now, this was built, I never figured out why it was built. It might have just been for a road, but there were people that were charged to build this bridge. And as you can imagine, back in the early 1800s, bridge building, not the safest of occupations.
No. And that's a lot of stone. That's not
That is
just
a
a
lot
little
of
bit of
stone.
stone. That's a lot of stone.
Now, of course, there had been people who died along the way.
Oh.
Now, some people were buried near the bridge, okay? So they died one way or another during construction, and they were taken a few feet away and just buried right
Oh
there.
shit, the lazy bastards. They couldn't even bother to take them away and bury them somewhere else. They had to bury them right near where they were working.
Shit, you don't even know this. You know what they did with some of them?
What?
Frickin' buried them inside the bridge.
No, tell me you are joking. That's gotta be that's gotta be an
They just
exaggeration.
basically started frickin' just putting the stones around them and just kept on keeping on. They're like, we'll just build around you.
Oh my God. No. Why?
Now,
Why?
where have they done that before? Like Hoover Dam? Isn't there like bodies in Hoover Dam or something? What is with entombing people in like concrete stone type? Like,
Did they really love the job that much that they want to remain there for eternity? I don't think so.
It's like a dick move, man.
Really, for real. I don't want to walk over their dead body all the time.
Such a dick move. But yeah, so there are people that are buried around it, but then there's people that have been encapsulated in the stone in the bridge itself. So there's the start of your hauntings and activities. Now, keep in mind, back to your stone theory. So not only do you feel that there's some connection between ghosties and paranormal and stone type
I do.
material,
Yeah.
but then you're going to put these bodies in the stone.
Yeah, you're just asking for trouble. Everything they did, from the design, the material, to the entombing of bodies, has turned this into a bad place, a not good spot.
You know what sucks about this the most? It is such a gorgeous location. Such a gorgeous location. But again, at night, downhill, all downhill from there.
It completely haunts out. It just completely ghouls out.
And of course, it's popular from locals and visitors, people like us who would drive all the way to South Carolina just to see it.
I'm so there. It's on the list. I'm writing it up. It's on the list.
But several locals say that, again, like I said, unable to start their car when they've gone and visited and are ready to leave. A light has said to move towards them while they sit in their car. The closer the light gets, they start hearing a loud scream, and it gets louder. So as the light gets closer, the scream gets louder.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Orbs everywhere. You'd freaking love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew it. I knew they'd be there.
The screams and the lights seem to be the most common experiences, but people hear voices coming from the arch, screams from atop of the bridge. Of course, as you can imagine, a bridge like that, people have tried to plummet to their death. So, there's been suicides there as well.
Places like that attract a lot of darkness.
People have seen green lighted dots floating, almost similar to a lantern. I've seen different color orbs and all of that, but they are specifically saying these as green lighted dots.
Green lighted dots.
I first thought it's aliens, but.
Right? So like alien orbs?
Others say that they feel like how do I explain it? Like a fear instilling presence. Like some sort
of terrifying entity energy, like right there.
Yeah.
It just like makes them scared. Ooh.
They've actually, there was a couple that went there that felt they got to it and had this like paralyzed feeling, paralyzed with fear. A lot of people say whatever's there like instills fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
Now, if you buried my body in stone, I'd probably want to instill fear in you too. But
it's probably just those poor guys, like the torment of their souls being trapped at work forever.
There was this man named Lucia Evans. I think I'm saying that right. I might not be saying that name right. But he said his uncle saw white figures out there at night, kind of reminiscent of the Lady in White. But haunting is are just synonymous with that bridge. They've actually done a YouTube mini series called Haunted Echoes, South Carolina. And there's been a book written, Ghosts of Upstate South Carolina, that kind of go into super great detail. But even, even as early, I say early, I mean, as most recent is 2018, there was a professional ghost hunting folks there. They took 400 photos around the bridge, and nearly 100 of those photos exhibited some type of phenomenon.
Wow.
They also did EMF stuff. Speaking of stuff that you are looking for
My little collection.
your collection, they said the EMF activity appeared to move about the area. It was never necessarily in the same place. It seemed like something was walking around them a good portion of the time while they were standing on the bridge. So even though they'd go all around, it was almost like that energy was kind of swirling around them.
Right. It was like staying nearby, but not getting too close.
Right. So it's not that, it necessarily like it happened during a specific, it wasn't like a wartime thing or like a Indian burial grave time.
I think they just built it and then the entities came because they built it to be some sort of portal, whether they meant to or not.
Well, and also during the time it was built, I guess apparently there was also some slaves that were killed there.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, you figure there was some murders there. As far as, if nothing else, the slaves being killed there. There were workers that died while they were working that were either buried there. And imagine being buried at the workplace. Like,
That's awful.
that's like the biggest fuck you. Oh, I'm going to bury you at work. Well, thank you.
Can you imagine having to continue on working, being like, oh, well, there's Bob. He's, 5 feet behind me, never going to leave again.
I touched on Hoover Dam, about how bodies were buried there. And there's been other places that bridges and stuff that bodies were left in the concrete. You don't put a body within the structure of a bridge unless you're trying to hide it. So that makes me think, who was murdered there? Why are you hiding a body in a bridge? Why?
Right? Why would you bury it in the bridge?
What is going to make you take Billy Bob and put him in the ground 5 feet from the bridge, but you're going to take John Smith and put him in the bridge? So
right?
I feel like even though I can't find any evidence of it, there had to have been some foul play as far as the folks that are within the bridge itself, because what would motivate you to bury some of them outside and some of them inside?
Yeah, that seems so weird. And I'm not 100% sure on the bodies in the Hoover Dam thing. I don't know if that's an urban legend or not, but why would you? Why would you bury people there? Like, that just is terrible.
But if you hear screaming there, that also leads me down the rabbit hole are those screams of people that were buried in the bridge alive?
Right? Were they like... Were they cranky coworkers? And did they bury the one that annoyed them in the bridge? Or did that guy really die? Like, why would you bury your coworker in the bridge? So, I just don't get it.
Right. Like, why are you sitting there and putting half these people in the bridge and half these people in the ground, and where the scream's coming from? Like, there's foul play. Even though I can't find evidence of it, I have this strong feeling of foul play with some of these deaths.
I think we need to do a seance there and ask them what was going on, what really happened to them. And I think we need to dig deeper, because someone up high knew what they were building. Someone knew that the shape of this bridge and that all these steps, maybe they orchestrated. Yeah, it's like a gateway to a thing, like a real gateway to hell.
Well, I was just going to say, out of all the portal to hells they claim, like, this one looks like
this one could have been built. Maybe they built it to be a portal, and then maybe they had all those people killed on purpose to like charge the portal.
Or maybe they were sacrifices for it to like open up or some shit.
Could be.
But, like, where is the screaming from if you weren't just doing some foul play, man?
Right, exactly. I think you're right.
This is a mystery. This, and I just picked this place. And what I found the most frustrating about this particular story, I am walking away with way more questions than I have answers.
Same. And I can't wait to get there and take pictures.
Way more questions than I have answers. And, it looks like it actually reminds me, when I was looking at some of the pictures, now I only showed you one of the pictures, but doesn't it remind you of the place where our community used to gather and do ritual?
Yes, it does. Other than the bridge, but yeah.
Other than the bridge, but like that I just
Oh yeah, very much so.
something about those pictures that I
It's
feel
like a
drawn
magical
to go
place.
there. Like I feel drawn to go there because I feel like there's so many unanswered questions and that anything I found, I feel only scratches the surface of what's really going on at this bridge. Like what is really going on at this bridge?
I agree.
I don't feel like I have found out. I feel like I found out bits and pieces.
I think the only way we're going to find out is if we go
Go
take a
there
lot of orb photos there.
and
And
take a Ouija board.
of course, Ouija board, got to ask a few questions. Absolutely. So, camera, Ouija board, check. Definitely in my bag of ghost hunting tricks.
Yeah, yeah. And I definitely think this is yet again a bucket list location,
Oh,
truly.
I agree. I absolutely agree. That sounds like a creepy, beautiful place to go. It looks like a really cool place to camp because at night is when you're going to probably get the best EVPs
Oh
and the
yeah.
best orb photos.
Well, they say that it's a gorgeous place during the day, and it's like the whole location's personality changes come dark.
That's true. Oh, I
And
bet.
I just really wish I could have found so much more about this place because like I said, I just feel like I just scratched the surface on this and maybe it hasn't been investigated enough. Maybe there's just not enough online about it, but I am so intrigued by this one and I haven't been able to say that in a while, honestly.
It sounds like a really fun, creepy place. I want to go.
I know, I know. So if anybody has been to South Carolina and been to this bridge, please, the Poinsett Bridge. And if you live close, I'm not promoting bad activity, but if you live near this place and you choose to go there based on this story, let us know what
Let
happens.
us
'Cause I want to
know.
know. I want to know. This is totally going on my bucket list. South Carolina, I got you, man. I'm coming.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm down. We're going to be in our cool little Auntie Witch RV and we're going to tool on down to South Carolina.
I was sad because I felt like this was going to be such a short story. But like I said, the reason I stuck with it and decided to do it anyway is because I'm left with more questions than answers. And that's what makes it so great.
It does. It sounds like a really fun, cool place. And, my cryptid, to totally switch gears, to go all the way up north to Montana to my cryptid is another one that was kind of short, but it's super fun and super interesting. And you know me, my brain gets very analytical. And if I can't find enough facts to a story, I'll just drop it rather than keep going with it.
Right, right.
I'm not just going to go on, oh, my friend's cousin said it was haunted there. I can't do that. And this was one of those stories. I really got into it because it just sounded intriguing. Like, who doesn't love a canine cryptid?
Right.
And there have been a lot of them in the news lately. So I thought this was a good one to talk about. One of the things that was really fun about the Shunka Warak'in is that they have one stuffed.
What? Okay, like, are you talking like a stuffed animal like I'm buying my grandson? Or are you talking like they caught one and had a taxidermist stuff the thing?
I'm saying they caught one in the 1800s.
No shit. Where is this thing? Please tell me it's on display somewhere.
It is still on display.
Yes.
It was lost for a long time. So this is in Montana. This
So this
story,
is totally legit.
it's totally legit. This story is out of Montana.
I wish people could see my shocked face right now.
This story obviously goes way earlier than the white settlers that came. The
Right,
Iowa
right.
people, the Native American tribes in the region, often saw this creature, and they're the ones that named it the Shunka Warak'in.
Now, can you please describe it physically?
Yes, it looks like a very large wolf. And they say that it has, unlike like wolves usually have white, gray, or black fur, they say that this creature is said to have very dark red or orangey brown fur, sometimes black fur.
Now, does it go on the four legs or the two legs? Like, is it like Wolfman or still like a dog?
This particular one always stays on four legs.
But looks like a fox. It's got fox colors, but bigger than a wolf.
It does have fox colors. Some people have also described it as looking a lot like a hyena because its
Yeah.
shoulders are very tall and muscular, and it slopes downwards to smaller hips in the back, much like a hyena.
Oh, wow.
And its face is different than a wolf's face. It looks almost like a pig wolf more like a hyena face than a wolf face.
Interesting.
And now, again, the Native American tribes in the area have talked about this creature long before the settlers came. It was named the Shunka Warak'in by the Iowa and other Native tribes in the area. Shunka Warak'in translates into carries off dogs because it would often sneak into their camps and steal their dogs while they were sleeping at night. But in the 1800s, the first white settlers in Montana encountered the Shunka Warak'in, and they said that it was a menace. It was constantly attacking their animals.
But nothing to be scared of, or just they were just killing their animals?
No, they were definitely afraid of it, and they weren't sure what it was, but they weren't able to catch it or really get a good look at it. They just knew that it was killing off their animals. And one settler, a man named Israel Hutchins, moved into the area, again, in the mid-1800s, in the Madison River Valley of Montana. In a diary that he left, he says that he encountered the Shunka Warak'in when it first started attacking his geese. And he ran out with his gun and he tried to shoot at it, but he didn't manage to catch it. And he was so unnerved by how it looked that he talked to other ranchers in the area about it and found that ranchers from as far as 15 miles away had seen the same creature and had it kill some of their livestock.
Oh, wow.
So they knew it wasn't a wolf. They knew what wolves looked like, and this was not one. Unfortunately, it kept harassing. It didn't kill any people, thankfully, but it kept killing a lot of sheep and birds and pigs and cattle in the area. Farmers from, 15, 20 miles away reported seeing this same creature or packs of creatures that looked like it.
Even if it had traits of hyenas, that's not like they're native to America.
Right. There is an American hyena that's indigenous here, but this was not it. And I believe they died off. It also has been described as looking like a dire wolf.
What's that?
A dire wolf is a very large wolf that was lived in North America and Eastern Asia, like way back in ancient times. Don't ask me when, because I'm not that good at history.
Is this cryptid? I know that we try to keep East Coast, West Coast, United States, all that. But is this cryptid, because it being Montana, has this been seen at all in Canada?
I believe it has been sighted in Nebraska, Iowa, and seen in Alberta, Canada. So yes, it has been a little bit into Canada. So it's
okay.
Nebraska, Iowa, and Illinois, but mostly in the Montana area.
So it's basically in that north central U.S.
Right. Centered pretty much in Montana, but it does expand outward into those other areas just a little bit.
Now, these people got big bears, and now you're telling me they got big dogs too? Like, what the holy heck?
Yeah. So Israel Hutchins, the gentleman who first saw this and described it to his neighbors, and they all kind of came together to talk about this crazy wild creature that they had seen, he determined he was going to get it. And one morning...
There's always one guy.
There's always one, right? One morning, his dog started barking like crazy, and he went out and managed to shoot a Shunka Warak'in. He took this creature, which looked nothing like a wolf, down to a man named Joseph Sherwood in Idaho.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this guy had a grocery store that was also a museum, and...
Okay.
Sure, well, let's run with it. And this Sherwood fellow looks at the Shunka Warak'in and promptly declares that it's not a wolf, doesn't know what it is, and he names it a ringdocious. A ringdocus? Never heard of it before. I have no idea what that is.
Do people just make up these names? Like, are they just like, all right, let me just think of something that sounds totally fucked up?
Well, he was a grocery store owner, so he obviously knew what he was talking about. And so... So he had it stuffed. I'm not sure if he was the taxidermist or if someone else does, but it was taxidermied. It was stuffed. And then he put it on display in his grocery store museum.
Don't even tell me that the local grocer was the damn taxidermist. Don't even tell me that.
I think he was.
I can't even.
He was the museum zoologist, taxidermist, grocery store guy. Hopefully he didn't get them confused.
Now, not to be a skeptic, but are there photographs of this?
Yes, there are.
Are they now they're I'm not talking some Photoshop bullshit. Are there legitimate photos of this?
Yes, there are.
Oh wow.
They've
Oh
done DNA
wow.
sampling on it.
Oh, do tell. Did they do ancestry DNA? Tell me.
I'll get there. I'll get there. This animal was on display for a long time at this grocery store,
Museum.
right in Idaho. And the youngest Hutchins eventually got his PhD in zoology, and he examined the creature and he didn't know what it was. Again, keep in mind, this is in the late 1800s. He didn't know what it was and determined that it might possibly be some sort of hyena that could possibly have escaped from a circus.
Okay.
But he wasn't sure.
The
So
hyenas
again,
are that big though.
right. So he says maybe it's some sort of abnormal hyena. The
Hybrid.
Sherwood Museum grocery guy says that it's a ringdocus. But anyways, it's on display until the 1980s when it disappeared and no one could track it
Seriously
down.
was on display from the late 1800s to damn 1980.
I'll show you pictures. Hold on. So now this did not stop the attacks.
Wait, you said it got stolen?
It just disappeared.
Sounds like something I'd steal.
The attacks on animals in Montana did not stop. There were still sightings of the Shunka Warak'in, and animals were still killed and carried off by it throughout the years.
Where there's one, there's more, man.
Exactly. In 1995, cryptozoologist Mark Hall was called in because there was a bunch of attacks on farm animals in the area, again, kind of in the area in Montana and around Montana of Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, and Alberta, Canada.
Now, was it, I have a question, and it is actually relevant, and I'll tell you why in a second. Now, there's a lot of farmland in that area. Was it just attacking smaller animals, or was it actually going after cattle as well?
I believe the biggest animal that I could tell that it went after was mostly sheep.
Because the only reason I ask is based on the size you're asking. If it was going after cattle, it would have to do it in packs. And I was wondering if it could be a pack animal, kind of like a wolf or something of the like.
It's described as being sometimes in packs and sometimes solitary, mostly solitary. But the biggest animal I was able to determine that it killed was sheep, was the largest animal.
Because you can kind of gauge an animal based on the size of its kill. That's why I was wondering if it ever went after cattle.
And wolves do tend to attack in packs, and this one is usually alone or sometimes in a small, possibly family pack.
Because if they're in a pack, they can take down bigger animals. So that's why I asked.
Yeah. So the attacks continued, but they didn't really make waves a lot until 95 when this gentleman, Mark Hall, was called in to do some research on what could have possibly killed all these different animals and all these similar attacks in that area.
What'd he find?
He stumbled upon the old stories of the Shunka Warak'in and determined that the animal did fit the pattern and that the sightings and the pictures that people took matched the old descriptions. And around that same time, a gentleman named Lance Foster, who's an Iowa Indian, he told another cryptozoologist about the Shunka Warak'in. He described it as a wolf that looks a lot like a hyena, and he said that it screams like a person when it's killed.
Could it be a hybrid?
It could be. That is one of the theories that it's one of the more recent theories that someone was doing.
A wolf mated with a I mean, I'm not saying there's lots of wolves and hyenas mating around town, but
some people think that it's some sort of remnant of dire wolf that possibly mated with local wolves. In December 2005, a Shunka Warak'in-like animal began killing livestock again in the hundreds.
I feel like that wasn't that long ago.
That wasn't. This was in Macomb, Garfield, and Dawson counties in Montana. By October of the next year, they had given it.
What are the Popo doing about this? I mean, what are the Popo doing?
So less than a year later, it has killed over 120 animals.
Oh my God.
Just in those areas alone, and was called the creature of Macomb County. There was an article in USA Today. I mean, people were talking about this creature and describing it all over the place, and it's definitely a Shunka Warak'in.
I want to talk to the county sheriff. I want to have a conversation with the sheriff, man.
Right? In November of 2006, the Montana Wildlife Service shot and killed the creature that they suspected was responsible for this over 120 killings.
Or one of the creatures.
That's right. It looked a lot like a wolf, but it didn't share any characteristics similar with wolves in the area. It had orange, red, and yellow fur.
Kind of like a fox. All I
Right.
can think of visually when you tell me that, I'm just thinking of a damn big fox because those are like the fox colors.
Right. And it's much larger. It weighed well over 100 pounds,
Oh
which,
shit.
hey, Google, what's the average weight of a wolf?
Here is some information from the web that might possibly help. On the website adfg.alaska.gov, they say most adult male wolves in interior Alaska weigh from 85 to 115 pounds, but they occasionally reach 145 pounds.
And how much did you say this thing weighs?
160 pounds?
Okay, so it's a little above average from a regular wolf size.
Well, an rare above average wolf is 145. And this is
Now,
supposedly bigger than that.
not that you're like some wolf expert, but can you compare me the stature? Like I've seen a wolf live in person, my own pretty blue eyes. How much stature wise taller are you talking above and beyond a wolf? Is it like a foot taller than a wolf? Like what are we talking? Is this like the Great Dane of wolves? Like
Okay, hold on.
I'm looking for a size estimate.
Okay.
You know I love cryptids, so I'm all about the detail.
Watch this video.
Okay.
This is from 2015. Do you see this?
Yeah.
Wait till it stands up.
Holy shit! That looks like a freaking moose.
So that was in Montana, and that wolf thing is obviously way larger than any wolf.
Okay, so guess where we're never going camping? We're never going camping in Montana.
This thing is about 3 times the size of that dog, and that was in 2015. So this creature is still around. Now, they've done DNA testing.
The thing is and I want to hear about the DNA, but the thing I'm thinking of, so they kill one, they see one on video. This ain't like freaking Bigfoot where there's a finite amount. There's got to be packs and families. Where are the babies? Like the baby's got to be a size of a German Shepherd.
Here, I think you can see a little bit. There are actual pictures of the ones that they...
You know what? That almost looks like a cross between a wolf and a boar.
It does look like people have described it very similarly to that. So it has some boar-like, some hyena-like.
There had to have been some desperate crossbreeding.
It's possible. I don't know. Again, some people think that it's some type of prehistoric animal called the Borophagus, which is like a hyena-like canine that was in North America more than 13,000 years ago. The Borophagus was like a hyena-type creature that was in the Pleistocene era, which was about 13,000 years ago here in North America. So some people...
That was just a minute ago.
Just a minute ago. So some people think that maybe that was it.
But now you're going to tell me what the DNA test said, aren't you?
Some of them have been inconclusive. Now they did find, now remember the first one that was killed, that was stuffed and disappeared in the 1980s? It was found in 2007, and that one was tested as well. The ones of the creatures that look like a Shunka Warak'in that have been captured, some have wolf DNA.
Okay.
But others are inconclusive, and they're not really sure what it is.
Is it inconclusive because they just don't know?
They say that, from what I could tell, some of them, they say it had like coyote related DNA.
Did anybody ever find any boar, pig type?
Not
DNA?
that I could tell, but those are some of the theories that are out there, that it was some sort of weird genetic experiment. But that probably wouldn't explain the sightings in the 1800s and the sightings from the Iowa and the other native tribes prior to that.
The government does some shady shit, but they didn't have the wherewithal in the 1800s to be doing that. I believe this is a natural, crazy, probably hybrid couple animals that should not have been breed and decided to breed kind of thing. And I would be, if I lived in Montana, I'd be scared, because this is a case of where there's one, there's more.
I think it's kind of interesting, the ones that have come back as inconclusive. And I think I'm with you. I feel that this is like a Nessie Loch Ness Monster kind of situation, where maybe some sort of prehistoric dire wolf or Borophagus hyena, kind of survived, or maybe, like you said, survived by like interbreeding with wolves or coyotes or something.
And so, it seems like the sightings that you talked about, there's been more recently than long ago. And I'm wondering if this is something that is kind of much like my good friend Bigfoot migrates up and down between northern United States and Canada, or if it originally was from Canada and migrated down to the northern United States just because of climate change, food
Sure.
resources, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
You're talking about some uncharted territory. It's not like we got people living all over every inch of Montana. That is wilderness, and these things can just disappear.
Right. And if it's just a small population, then maybe when people were first settling the area, they kind of disturbed it and it moved on after that one was killed, just so there were just a few, sightings here and there until now, like you said, even there's climate change, there's even more and more people moving out into the wilderness.
Strained resources.
Yeah, people are hiking everywhere.
Strained water sources. There's animals, any type of animal, cryptid or regular, I did not mean that to be regular. But animals are having to shift where they look for food and water because of all kinds of things, whether it be pollution or building or what have you. We're driving the cryptids into the city.
That's right. So these cryptids are coming out, and this is one that I'm going to say is kind of possibly true. And
they have a body. No, they have a body. It can't not be.
Right. And the inconclusive tests are very intriguing to me. I do really wonder if it's some sort of creature that has survived for a long time and interbred with other wolf type populations.
How good a DNA test is the government really doing on these things? I say send that shit to Ancestry DNA because they got it together there.
They do.
I love Ancestry. Please, Ancestry DNA, open up a cryptid DNA testing section, please.
Ooh, wouldn't that be fun? I kind of want to do that. Would you do Ancestry DNA? Would you try to find out your ancestry? I would.
Actually, 2 years ago, my children gave that to me as a Mother's Day gift.
I'm jelly. I want to do that so badly. I'm such a mutt. I have no idea.
Oh, no, this is awesome. So both of my children and I, all three of us did it. And as they up the technology, I will get a notification that I have more refined results because they got better technology and were able to refine my DNA. So in the 2.5 years since I've had it done, I've actually had like 3 updates. And
oh, how fun. How neat. I really want to do that.
No, like seriously, I actually just had an update like a week or so ago. So I happen to have it right here.
Oh, what's it say?
So for me personally, England and Northwestern Europe, 58%, Scotland, 15%, Wales, 13%, Germanic Europe, 9%. I thought I was way more German than I am. Apparently, I'm like all freaking Great British. I'm either English, Scottish, or Wales. And I really thought I'd have more than 9% German in me.
Oh, how fun.
Sweden and Denmark, 3%, France, 2%, Irish, 2%.
Oh, that's so cool. Now, do you have to check a box and be like, yes, you can, or no, you can't use my DNA to solve some crime and see if I'm related to a heinous serial killer / and or rapist?
Not that I recall. No, I just spit in a frickin' thing and sent it in.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you could see this. This is super cool because both my kids did it, but like it'll tell you my son is 38 points closer to my DNA to me than my daughter. By the way, you have no idea. That pisses her off to her freaking core.
She is
her off.
She is your soul daughter. Soul daughter.
But if anybody that you're family member with, it will link you up together as DNA matched in an instant.
Oh, how neat.
But do you see how it shows how close they are to me?
Yes, I see that. That's
Isn't
wild.
That super cool?
That is super, super cool. I want to find out if I have like any secret brothers or sisters out there that my dad didn't know about.
I honestly think that my daughter wanted the 3 of us to do it just to make sure their father was their father.
Oh, that sneaky little thing. I want to do it. I have checked into mine and I'm related to Robert the Bruce like 10 bajillion people ago. But other than that, I think I'm pretty boring. So it'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, but you know what's even cooler about it? Like you click to DNA story.
Where your ancestors came from.
And where they landed in America.
How fun. How fucking cool. I just really want to know if I have any like secret siblings or like some like murderer.
I'd be afraid for you because unfortunately, based on your parents' background, I have a feeling you could find a secret sibling.
I know, right? There's probably some weird, it's gonna come up with some cool scandal. I know it. Something interesting.
So should we do an outro for this?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for listening to the Stoned Witches Hour, where we discuss DNA, cryptids, and creepy bridges.
We just love creepy stuff.
We do. It's just so interesting. Who doesn't like it? And, besides, I'm smoking good weed. I'm hanging out with my bestie. We're telling fun stories. What's not
Nothing
to like?
better. Nothing beats it.
That's right. You want to do it again next week?
I think we should. And I think there might be a person or two who might come out next week and listen.
Oh, how fun. How fun. Who's coming out next week to listen?
Everybody. Because you know what? We're funny.
We are funny. Oh, and we have Mabin coming up. Either Mabin just happened or we have Mabin coming up. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
All right. So stay tuned next week on Wednesday at 4:20 a.m. for the next episode of the Stoned Witches Hour. And if you've got a creepy, weedy, ghosty story, send it on in for book 3 of your stories, where we're going to read them all and get super into all the creepy things you guys are into.
But in the meantime, stay high, stay witchy, definitely stay ghosty, and we just can't wait to hear your stories. So please send them in because I'm dying here.
So we'll see you next week on the Stoned Witches Hour. Later.